So welcome to the second edition of the Elite Strength Performance podcast. We thought it would be really beneficial for us both to do one, so me and Luke just chat through seagulls in the gym.
Pterodactyl on.
So we thought it'll be dead beneficial for me and Luke to just talk through a few Q&As that we've got off our own Instagrams and the Elite Instagram, which will allow us to explain a few things, how the gym came together and how we developed from there. So I will start off by letting Luke take the lead if he wants to check out a few questions.
Okay, we'll start with an easy one. Where's best to park to avoid the seagull shit onslaught at Elite? Any ideas, Jake?
No.
No.
I'd
probably say leave your car at home and walk down. That's probably the safest possible place to leave your car. But you know, that's seagulls for you. So on to a bit more serious questions. So first one, with the community you built in the gym, was this always the goal?
So absolutely. The goal from the start was pretty much a pipe dream for myself and Luke. We wanted a small member base. Due to sort of the environment we wanted to create, we wanted only, hence the name, elite sort of people. This doesn't mean you have to be an elite athlete to train at the gym. This just means you have to have an elite mindset. It doesn't matter what necessarily your goal is. You just need to have that mindset. You have to be in here wanting to achieve that goal.
Yeah, I think it stems back to years of training in different gyms, and we've always found friendships from the gym, and most of our best friends now are training at gyms or we met through the gyms. Mm-hmm. So, and it was always that love for training, but also the community which comes with it, and having like-minded people around each other, and you know, everyone in here is supporting each other. It's not about who's better than who at all. It's all just really, you can see just from buying tickets for shows recently, having 30 odd people, 40 odd people going to support one or two people competing in a weekend. How many gyms across the country can you say that you've got 20, 30 members of a gym supporting one person competing?
Yeah, especially when our membership is 100 people.
Yeah,
so that is 30% of the
yeah,
gym.
34%, yeah. So it makes a big difference. And Jake and I only really ever wanted a small gym. The gym was never, you know, going to make Jake and I millions. It was never the goal. It was more of a place where we wanted to train and wanted to share it with 100 like-minded people, really. Mm-hmm. And having the ability to, you know, make money off the back of it is an added benefit. But for us, it's more about having somewhere to go and enjoying what we do. You want to go? Do you want me to go?
Yeah, so I'll follow on with a question from, I'm not sure which one I'm on now, the Elite page or mine. So I thought a good question that would lead on from this is, what was the hardest obstacle that you've had to overcome when opening the gym? So we've had a lot of obstacles, without going into major details, as you'll pick up as we go along, the trials and tribulations of actually opening the gym. But Luke, do you want to explain what, because if nobody knows us personally, so me and Luke took different roles in opening up the gym, and Luke was doing a lot more on the actual business side of opening the gym. So if Luke explains his biggest obstacle.
So when we started out, the goal was always to create, as we just said in the previous question, but the major obstacle we hit initially was the fact that we bought 20 grams worth of kit and paid a deposit for the kit, and then that company liquidated and took our money, and that put us in a bit of a situation where we thought, how do we recover from this? And our goal then was to simply sort of not change our business model, but just rather than go out and buy all new kit, it was like, right, let's start collecting the kit which we've always enjoyed training on, and over time build the facility we have today, because it's not that easy to find a piece of kit we have in here today. So it has taken us 18 months, and still to this day there's pieces of kit which we both want, and which I still dream about many times each night. But the major obstacle was recovering from having that money taken from us, and then opening up, because a date to open was 1st of July 2019. We had to push that back 4 weeks to the 1st of August. And Jake and I were still travelling around the country on the 31st of July, picking up, I think the last piece we picked up prior to opening was a hammer strength chest press, and then opened on the 1st. And the gym was a very different place then. I think we had 13 items in total, including dumbbells, assault bikes. So if you just look at our space now, when we've got over 40 pieces, there's only still 2 pieces, 3 pieces, which of actual gym kit which are still there, as in like plate loaded or pin loaded stuff. We still have the obviously still have a Nautilus Explode pull down, which is not a replica. We have the pendulum squat, which was there from day one from Rick, and we got a flat bench from Primal.
Yeah,
that's probably the best thing Primal ever made as well, by the way.
Yeah, I think the day before we got the cable crossovers, or that was a couple of days in.
Yeah, it was definitely round about there, wasn't it? It was very close to the mark, because originally we'd obviously ordered the cable crossover from SNC, and they didn't rock up with it, so it was last minute, right, get a cable crossover in. So that was the biggest challenge, and then really it was the fact that we didn't provide what we said we were going to provide from day one, which understandable to people who were trusting us and coming in not maybe knowing us as well as you know us now. We didn't really have the kit that a lot of people wanted, but the people who did come, you know, they're all still here, and they started with us and they're still here, and that's, you know, something which again has made us, the gym, so endearing to us, and a place like home, is because everyone's seen it grow from the start. Shout
out to founder members.
Yeah,
we love you guys.
Yeah, there's been lots of issues. I tell you what was difficult, personally, at the start of opening a gym, when we only had 25 members when we first opened, knowing you're not making enough money to cover rent and things like that, and opening up in September, October on cold mornings at 5:30, 5:45, and no one might walk through the door until 7, 7:30 in the morning. So you're there thinking, what's the point? But always in the back of your head is a thing that, you know, we sort of knew what we could do, but it was just a case of riding the storm, getting through the hardest parts, and we got there in the end.
So we both worked full-time jobs as well while doing this, so that was a personal stressor as well, like for both our personal lives, social lives, absolutely everything. So myself, I was working 6 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon, and then I would either take over from Luke and work the evening shift, and when Luke could get time off, then he'd have to make up them hours. So Luke worked as well, and we rotated the shifts between ourselves, so working a good 18-hour days, while putting our own money that we've earned through other jobs into the gym when it wasn't earning sufficient amounts to keep it open. Yeah, and
it was very much a sort of a, you know, not, I think there's still quite a few numbers of pieces of kit in here which are personally purchased by Jake and I, because, you know, at the time when we were building, we had to cover rent, we had to cover electricity bills, which were massive at the start because of the lights we had in here. We changed the lights as soon as we could, and, you know, it cost us £450, £500 a month just to light the place. And so when pieces of kit became available we wanted, it was a case of, right, how are we going to afford this? So I was like, well, we're just going to have to buy it, because we don't like to see things slip through your fingers. You miss a piece of kit, which is a desirable piece of kit, like let's just say the Icarian T-bar row. You know, you might not see one for 2 years. I haven't seen one come available since I bought that one, and I look at kit every day. So it's, you know, if you're not on the ball and you miss it, you know, you could be waiting 2 or 3 years to pick up something you want to pick up again. But it's all sort of added to how close, you know, I and Jake hold the gym to our hearts. It's not really a business. It's probably the weirdest business you'll ever walk into. It's more just like a garage which we share with 100 people, and
a playground.
And everyone respects it. So we're more than happy to just pretty much leave it. And you know, we have to tidy up and things, but majority of the time the place is tidy. You know, if something breaks or something's, you know, missing, people will tell you. Anything like that, it's weird. And being able to, coming from a background of teaching where I dealt with 100, 200 kids each year, When we opened this place, I wanted to know every member's name. I wanted to know every member's goal. I wanted to be able to have these conversations which regular gym owners can't have because they simply sell out to numbers because we've got to fill memberships to make money. Yeah. We could literally line up every member in here and we could tell you their first name, probably their partner's first name. If they've got kids, we've probably got a decent idea what the kids are called and what the goals are and everything else. And that's what makes it such a personal place for us, is because it's not just they're supporting us. We're not just supporting them by providing with an environment. They're literally just supporting what we wanted to create. And yeah.
Got anything good?
Yeah, we can do a kit one. It's an easy one.
Yeah, do a kit one. I'm just flicking through all the penis questions.
Okay. Obviously from Callum.
Yeah, Callum, yeah.
Just can't go 2 minutes without talking about penis. So a few questions related to gym equipment here, because as people know, we are a bit obsessed with different pieces of gym equipment. So new kit in the pipeline. If so, what is it? So we are picking up another Cybex Bravo next week with the wide cable stacks. So not just the narrow cable stack. The other piece of kit that I really want is I'd like the prone, so the lying Cybex hamstring curl. I think the addition of that, there's not much else we really need.
No.
It's just a case of if something which is superior comes up, it's upgrading. Yeah. Just little things, little tweaks to it. But then that leads on to the next little question. I can ask Jake, what's your favourite piece of kit in Elite?
Hard to choose from. We've recently purchased 2 squat presses, which a few people online aren't happy about, as we've got some stupid offers for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, love that piece
Apparently
of kit. With myself, I have a little bit of ankle mobility issues, so that opposed to a normal leg press, absolutely amazing for myself. And apart from that, Cybex hamstring curl. I know a lot of people are going to think I'm a weirdo now. I'm naming leg kit instead of a chest press or something, but that's what I like the most. So
yeah, well, you for some piece of kit for chest and things, you can easily, unless it's a terrible piece of kit, you can sort of feel where it is. Yeah. But that leg curl, I've never, is incredible. VR2 leg curl or the Eagle leg curl, the Cybex one, they've just hit the nail on the head with it. And again, that's why we got them. Because they are really good.
Yeah, really good.
My favourite piece of kit, it changes all the time. I used to love the Nautilus Explode pull down, but when you get up to 5+ plates, it's just crucifying, so I absolutely despise it now. So currently I'd probably say the Smith machine, because because it's probably the first time in a long time I've felt strong pressing. And for me, pressing was always a movement which I struggle with. And recently it's something which has really improved. Yeah. So I do enjoy pressing.
Doing like 60 kilograms now, aren't you?
Yeah,
like,
plate aside. So yeah, it's really
hard.
Really good, yeah. So I'm growing massive off it as well. So Jake, if you could only have 3 pieces of kit which are in this gym right now, you had to take with you, what 3 pieces would you choose?
So I'll go with the squat press, like I just said, it's one of my favourites. Reasoning being, you can do hamstrings on it as well. Get your feet higher up. We can do a hamstring exercise on that. You can obviously dominate your quads. So that covers pretty much your lower body.
Probably do triceps on it as well if you wanted.
Yeah, you could do overhead extension. Yeah. Like, we'll give that a go in a bit. Yeah, we'll get Callum to guinea pig it.
Yeah.
So that's probably. And then what else do I need? Need some delts. So the Smith machine, we count that as a.
Yeah. Any piece of kit.
Actually,
you can have a big space.
Squat press, Smith machine, cables. You can do everything on a Smith machine, do everything on cable. So yeah, that explains it. What about yourself?
Bravo, because you can pretty much do majority on it. I'd take the pendulum because it gives me the least knee issues, and probably leg curl. Yeah. Yeah, I'd go with that.
If anyone who comes to gym has an opinion on what their best are and think it's better than mine and Luke's, just let us know. We'll put it in the comments.
So Jake, well, I'll ask you the question, then I can just ask myself it. What is your professional background, and how do you think this has contributed to the success of Elite?
So my professional background within fitness is probably the same as most people up until a certain point. So College, BTEC Sport gave me enough points to get to university. Went to university, did sports and exercise sciences, mainly focusing on physiology because that's what I was interested in, so I geared most of my stuff towards that. Although psychology and all that is quite interesting, it's not going to teach me how to get massive, how to run faster, how to lift more, so it's not associated with any of my personal interests. So from university, I'd done my PT qualification years and years before that, which was beneficial because it does teach you the basics. However, I don't think it teaches you nearly enough.
It's like your driving test, isn't it? It allows you to be a safe instructor.
Yeah, allows you. Yeah, so working with such general population clients, I think it'll give you enough knowledge, calories in, calories out, how to perform an exercise safely. However, we've had this conversation many times before with each other and other people. The benefit to going to university will be the education on how to critically evaluate research. So it allows you to look at a document, look at a program, look at how someone moves and evaluate it against other research, other people's body movements, or allows you to put a better program together, I think, through being able to research from different, I don't want to necessarily just say articles, just different subject matter.
And that's not to say that you can only be a good personal trainer by going to university to be able to critically evaluate, but it was a good place to understand these skills because it's, having to analyse papers and then critically evaluate papers rather than simply just reading a background information or an intro is the difference between being able to regurgitate information and understand information and being able to apply it from the information which comes from results and discussions, and then finally, the analysis at the end, which is sort of where we are with things, isn't it? We'll listen to anyone and we'll take points on or subject matter on board, but it's the ability to be able to not challenge them on it, but be able to question things and be able to enjoy a debate
and continually learning as well. Like we've said before, a lot of people finish learning at their PT level and say, I'm good enough to be a personal trainer, and I think that's a lot of ego. You need to constantly be learning, taking other people's opinions on board, constantly researching. When you're let's change the term from personal trainer to coach. I feel like you're learning all the time and developing, and that's a massive, even for the client as well, you're learning all the time. When your coach tells you something, learn it yourself as well, critically evaluate, go do your research, and then you can have a more in-depth conversation and it will feature better for your goals. What was the original question?
What's your professional background?
What's your professional background?
Okay, my professional background was similar to Jake, but when I was at school we didn't have BTECs, so I did A-level PE. From A-level PE, I went and did my degree in physical education because firstly I planned to be a PE teacher. So finished my degree, did my PGCE so I could teach, tried primary school, tried secondary school, hated them because they didn't particularly want to be there, and fell across college lecturing, and they kind of wanted to be there. They definitely wanted to be there when I first started, and then as time's gone on, I think colleges have just become diluted with people who have to stay in education until they are 18, 19, just makes so we don't have to go out and work really. And originally I started teaching on numerous different qualifications, including sports science, sport, bits of public service in regards to fitness testing and training for entry into Army, Navy, Air Force. And then about 2012-13, when PT qualifications become a little bit more accessible, the college started running them, so I took the lead with running them for Wirral Met for about 5 years, and ran level 2 fitness instructor, level 3 personal training from there, and enjoyed it very much so at the start. I've had quite a few good students pass through, but as I said before, because colleges are now run like a business and each student's worth X amount, I feel like the course became, it doesn't matter previous knowledge or whether they have enough empathy to be a personal trainer. It was simply, oh, I like going to the gym, I'll do a PT course. So and that sort of leads me into where we are now. And so I was teaching at Wirral Met. I completed my master's in exercise nutrition science, and then it came to a point where I just wasn't happy in what I was doing, because I just felt like I wasn't being fulfilled by the people around me. And I knew that working one-to-one and working online, that I was getting that fulfillment elsewhere, but I couldn't see myself going to work in another gym. I just got to the point where I didn't think I was manageable. No. And so it was a case of, when Jake and I spoke about things, it was like, right, what do we do? And we came up with this idea with support from our friends and family, and we created the environment we have today, which allows us to coach who and how we want, and be fulfilled by the people who we work with. Yeah, and not by people who, people aren't going to pay you money if they don't require coaching. Whereas when I was working in the college, it didn't matter if they wanted to be there or not. It was just a case of they have to be there. So, walking into an environment which isn't fulfilling or exciting just became a little bit of a chore towards the end. And I was still very enthusiastic. They never saw me to be... it was never the kids. It was, I always delivered the greatest possible service that I could provide. But the actual system, I felt, was failing. And it was a case of just throwing out personal trainers, regardless whether they were equipped or not, because each kid had to pass the qualification in order to be the college to be paid out.
So there's some serious stuff talked about. Shall we go to some random questions? Yeah. Question 1. What would you say the best gear to bulk with after a Mazzy cut?
The best gear to bulk with after a Mazzy cut? I would go with Tribulus, deodorant spray. Think of any additions?
Some horny goatweed.
Horny goatweed's a good one, yeah. Aspartic acid. Yeah, don't forget that one. And then just a sprinkle of creatine on your eggs in the morning.
So this person here looks definitely like they do all them things. So yeah.
Is it Calamas that or?
No. Yes, we are. Obviously, Luke just told everybody then he's from an educational background, so Luke will be taking lead in them things. Obviously, we've got a lot of coaches in the facility, and we surround ourselves with a lot of educated people, so we will not struggle to fill that, to make a day of it maybe. But obviously, like I said, Luke will probably be running them, so anything to add?
It's, again, it comes down to just the right time, the right place, and I think we've now been here, what will be August, so effectively we've been open 2 years, because we opened in August 2019, but we've been closed for 11 of those months, so really we've only been open a year. So we've kind of been chasing our tail, getting to where we want to be, personally and business wise. So it's definitely something I'm looking at in regards to sort of what I'd like to provide, or what we'd like to provide. It is, as Jake said, it's sort of professional development, not just for coaches, but for really the members and the people who are here, and anyone else, local or national, who wants to come and learn from. We're very lucky on the Wirral, and we've got a lot of good personal trainers. There's obviously other well, no, I'm not going to say that, but we're very lucky to have in here in Elite. We have a lot of very, very good personal trainers who train out of here, and we're not afraid to just talk about different clients or different, not, obviously confidentially, no names, but we discuss different clients and different challenges we face. And because we all work with different demographics, but we all train under the same roof, so being able to provide a service where someone covered one subject with someone they work with, and someone's strong in another subject, being able to discuss other things, I definitely think a sort of a course would be able to be successfully ran from here in regards to like a bolt-on from personal trainer qualification. But eventually we would like to have level 2 fitness instructor and level 3 run from here, being an online base for the theory stuff, But then in practical application, being able to come in and shadow a tutor, but also being able to shadow personal trainers who train from this facility within their own environments. And I think that would offer a massive advantage over simply doing an online course or doing a college course where you're limited to contact with different people, because we're not all going to work with the same demographics. My demographic's very different to anyone else's. While obviously there's more coaches fall into my bracket, but there's lots of different people that we work with, and we have our specialisms, and being able to sort of sit down and make case studies out of things and discuss how we overcome these situations will be definitely something that we want to do.
Yeah, definitely.
So question we've got from Matty, who's also here to ask. He asked us what our marketing strategy was, and whether we built this up from marketing or whether it just came from word of mouth, and how much money have we invested in advertising, Jake?
Zero.
Zero. Yeah. We bought a sign, if that counts, for the gym, but actual advertising and marketing, we've done zero, because we don't want to turn people away, because we're not nasty people really, but no. It's a case of it's our playground, it's our environment, and we like the dynamics of our environment, especially now with the members we have. So really it's about a new member selling themselves to us.
Yeah.
You know, whereas you could say that's a little bit arrogant, but everyone in here loves the space and everyone gets on. It's, you know, you could throw spanners in the works, and then if a spanner's thrown in the works, we've got to fix it. So really we don't want to have to solve that. And we, as Jake said early on, we are for people who are elite in whatever regards they see, whether it's competing, whether it's just being elite in mindset. It's, you know, you come in here, how many times people do go on the phones, but people don't sit and waste time.
Abused, are they? Like abusing people's time, or
everyone comes in here to train. We have a good laugh when we do it. That's the beauty of having a relatively small facility, because you have got the likes of people like your Steve Robbos who will shout a conversation across a gym with someone on the other side, but it's all in good spirit because everyone knows each other.
Yeah,
it's it's
easy to fall into as well in a small facility as well. I've had clients come in from myself who I've trained enough to be able to come in on their own and train their own, and at the beginning obviously a lot of people have gym anxiety. Give them 2-3 months in a space like this, they're asking the biggest guy in the gym for a spot or to take plates off because they need some obviously weights taken off the machines, and it builds people's confidence, and that's what a sort of gym like this does for people just starting out. But like we said, you can just be starting out, you could be at the pinnacle of your bodybuilding career. It literally does not matter as long as you've got that elite mindset to achieve your goal, whether that is to lose a stone but you're on it 100%, or it's to, like I said, compete. It's the same. Everyone's got the same goals at the end of the day, and that is to achieve something.
Yeah, and to motivate each other.
Yeah, and
be selfless in a sense. You know, there's not much selfishness going on in here. So should we go light-hearted one again?
Go for it.
No, actually, I can't answer that. Actually, it'll probably get stopped by YouTube. So it's definitely not politically correct. So let's not. I was tempted, but I best not. So, sorry, I'm going to have to go back to a serious one for a moment. What are your future plans with Elite? What are our future plans?
It's difficult to discuss. Obviously, we've got massive aspirations, but we haven't sat down and talked about it. Like Luke said just then, we've been open a year, if that, with all the troubles we've had. So,
yeah.
Obviously, we could sit here now and say we want to expand, we want a bigger facility, we want another facility, we want X, Y, and Z, but let's have a year without being closed and see where we're at then, and then we can discuss that.
Yeah, we don't want to sort of compromise the environment we have as well.
No.
You know, if something's not broke, why try and fix it?
Yeah.
And I think we have what we want, and there is room for improvement, but right now it's a case of just cementing ourselves and you know, enjoying it, because we've had, you know, 11 months of COVID. We had 6 months real trouble at the start of opening it. So really I'd say really we've only really got going since April properly and sort of enjoyed it more because, we've not been as anxious knowing we're going to close again, or we haven't had issues to deal with. It's been quite refreshing since, so we're really just catching our breath at the moment.
We haven't had a chance to enjoy the facility either, and bigger isn't necessarily better, no matter what Kim says.
Yeah.
It's
I had something to add there, and I've completely forgot what I was going to add.
2 inches.
Yeah, make it 10. I remember discussing this with someone, and someone asked me this question a while ago. I think I'd had a drink, probably had a drink, and I said, to be honest, we are still winging it.
Yeah.
This is our first business.
We have lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
In shit that we shouldn't have done.
Yeah.
But that's a learning curve. Yeah. If anyone wants any advice how to not lose money.
Yeah. And I think you can read all the books you want about how to successfully run a business, but in reality, until you get dirty and doing it yourself, there's nothing quite like it, because there's not one way to do things. There really isn't. I've done things which I've read about and things like that, and I thought this has got to work because someone psyched up that much, and actually it was the worst advice I'd read. And actually it comes down to the person themselves. If you're motivated and the people who you're working with when you're providing a service can see you're motivated and you're supporting it and reinvesting in things like that, I think that does sell. And in reality, that's just us winging what we're doing.
Yeah, definitely. Like, back to the marketing question, every self-help book will tell you marketing's key. Market your facility, market whatever you need to market, because that's how you make sales. We've maxed out sales, so by winging it. So
we're full all year round.
Yeah.
And then again, we'll occasionally take the odd person.
Yeah. But we'll lose a uni student who's going
exactly.
to develop themselves.
So it always sort of holds its number now, doesn't it?
Randomly, the first question I got: who's got the biggest feet in the gym? So, well, this girl who did come to the gym, well, she still does. She had pretty big feet, but she dropped a plate on her foot and lost a couple of inches. So she's probably second now.
Lost a few toes. She had to carry to A&E.
So into the dark arts questions. I've got a question here saying, why are people obsessed with taking Trenbolone?
Well, if you walk around any gym, I think the key answer you'll get from that is it's 5 times more anabolic or 5 times stronger than testosterone. So therefore, it's going to make you 5 times bigger than simply taking testosterone. When in reality, that's not the case at all. It's got higher anabolic effect and higher androgenic effects, but Trenbolone's massively overused, and its probably best place is in a cutting cycle, and really should only be used by people who are looking to compete, or really sort of advanced people who know what they're doing and know how to rectify things. But Trenbolone's main action is the fact that it binds to the glucocorticoid receptor. So therefore, it blocks cholesterol. It blocks cortisol, which is the stress hormone, which is what breaks down muscle tissue. So if you block that receptor, you can retain more muscle. You can retain, more protein and things like that. So Trenbolone's place would be in a cycle to sort of maintain muscle, but also put on that muscle in a deficit.
So you would advise for, say, a competitor, that would be more in a dietary phase or a growth phase?
Yeah, I'd probably say in a dieting phase, because there's obviously more health implications associated with those drugs, and Trenbolone has never been studied. As far as I know, and I'd love someone to correct me if I'm wrong, there has been no human trials with Trenbolone. It is a drug which was originally used on cattle.
Yeah.
So, there's no efficacy there. So there is no research. So it is all anecdotal based evidence.
Yeah.
And again, you hear people taking ridiculous amounts of this drug, which really don't need to be done. If you're looking at a stack design, it's all about triggering different pathways and not just exhausting one. So more is obviously always going to be better, but it's using the correct things in order to sort of create the response you want from the drug. I would heavily advise people avoid the drug unless they are under guidance from someone who is educated in the area, and do your own research, because it is not a drug which should be taken lightly.
So I'm a new person to the gym. I've made the decision to take steroids.
I've got a great story off the back of this, by the way. Come on.
Here we go. So I'm a new person to the gym. I've decided to take the leap into taking steroids. What cycle would you advise? I'm not asking for milligrams or anything like that, because I don't want anyone to take this advice and use it, but what compounds would be ideally mild side effects?
Yeah. So first of all, if I was asked that question, I would want to know why you want to take steroids. I would then probably advise them against it. I would also then probably explain the ramifications of what, regardless how much you take or anything, how that's going to affect your health long term. And off the back of that, if they were then sort of still, no, I'm going to do it regardless whether you advise me or not, then I would probably advise for them to take a TRT dose of testosterone plus 50 milligrams.
Yeah.
So, work that out for yourselves. You can find that in any place. I don't really want to talk about milligrams and things like that, but that would be where I'd start. And I would start with one single compound, being testosterone. Obviously, again, like I said before, depending on your goal, we could use different pathways and use maybe a second drug. First cycle, probably not. No. It's just a case, but it depends on the person and what the goals are and what the time frames are. So it's always going to be very individual. I've got it. So off the back of that, story time. And hopefully we'll come across more of these story times, because Jake and I have been around gyms for 10, 15 years, and we were lucky enough or unlucky enough to work on a gym on Argyle Street, so we saw some mad shit, people walking in and out, and different people you encounter, some great times, but also some hilarious times.
Confirm, trembling was not only tested on cattle and
for a long time.
Tested on Jamie Mack.
For a long time, and I remember just one of the first times I saw someone being injected with steroids. He forced Trenkoped. It was it definitely wasn't Trenkoped. It was the needle went in and he was just there fucking dying.
Status symbol, I'm on trend.
Yeah. I think actually he took a mouthful of cinnamon before he'd done the jab, and then just coughed it up. It was, but then obviously off the back of that, being about 2021, having no idea about what this whole thing is, and going a bit white off seeing someone put a needle in someone's arm, you kind of get into the habit of going, it's got to be good trend if you get a trend cop off it. But the story I wanted to say was about last year sometime. Jake and I were working in here, and someone came in, and we'd been training for 2 or 3 weeks, and probably about 9 stone, and
17, 18 years of age.
Yeah, probably about 17, 18. And they were I've just got test. Was it Tren? Test Tren, yeah. And a Rimidex for a cycle. Yeah. So 17, 18, test Tren and a Rimidex, which he'd purchased off someone somewhere else.
He's an absolute fucking waster for doing that to a young lad.
By the way,
9 stone lad. At 17, 18.
Selling a bottle of test and a bottle of Tren. And to be fair to the lad, his mum was aware of it. She just had no idea what he was buying, because he just said that this is what he wanted to do. But we convinced him against it. Told him it's a stupid idea. He binned it.
Because it was shit as well.
Yeah.
Confiscated.
Yeah.
A couple of protein shakes.
But this just shows again just what it mind baffles me sometimes, because you've got people out there who, well, very simply, are drug dealers, aren't they?
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. what it is. It's like, oh, you want a bottle of this and a bottle of that, or what can I take to get massive? And it's just like, oh, do you know what you need? You need a bottle of Test, you need a bottle of Tren, and you need an AI. It's like, okay, why?
Tell you why, because cash is king.
Yeah. So, if something I can say is just be due diligent about young people, because unfortunately the world we live in now is very much superficial, and it's what people see on the outside, and people want quick fixes. We've been in this game for 12 years, 12 more maybe, and there's a time and a place for anabolics, there's a time and a place, but literally everyone I know who's done well or who's serious about training has spent a lot of time building a body and eating hard and training hard prior to jumping on something, because it doesn't make your physique. It's probably a small thing which adds to it. You've still got to have that mindset, you've still got to be able to eat, you've still got to be able to train, you've still got to be able to have a lifestyle before thinking about going down that route. So we're going to call that an evening, because we could probably sit here and just talk all night. But realistically, Jake and I only program 35 minutes to 45 minutes cardio, so I think that'll do it. But really enjoyed the questions. But next time, if you want to do something more training or banter related, send them in, and we can talk stories. If anyone has any stories which we may have forgotten about, which you want us to go through, so we can laugh about again, throw them in. But we're just going to try and make this a bit of a regular thing. And
So as well, sorry, just to jump in before Luke finishes it up, we're going to get a lot of people on this podcast from wherever. So if you're listening and you want to be on it, you've got something to say, you want to promote your business, whatever, let us know. But otherwise, we'll contact people we think is going to be beneficial for them exact reasons again. Are they going to improve your outlook on your sport, or are they going to improve your outlook on your business or whatever? So let us know if you want to be on it. It's
been a pleasure. We'll look forward to the next one. And if anyone has any comments or any questions off the back of it, here's his little tag. Give us a shout on Instagram or anything like that on the Elite page, or mine and Jake's personal Instagrams. And we'll be sure to get back to you over if it's gym-based, if it's anything in regards to sort of what we discussed today, if you want to talk about it in more detail, and we'll happily sit and chat.
Definitely. Right, cool.
Over and out.